were pretty awesome.
Oh, I did add the Suzume song to my anime pop playlist. This one.
Ah, yeah, I do remember that.
I think in this film, in his other films, they changed the songs to English.
Mm-hmm.
But in this one, they just left the Japanese. Because I remember listening, I was like, I didn't hear any English versions of the songs. So, because usually they make an English version for the movie, and it's the same music, just, like Belle, how they did.
Yeah.
The songs are originally Japanese, and then they changed it.
Right. And if you guys like the sound of that, then go back and listen to our previous episode on Suzume. Because that movie was awesome.
My bad, y'all. I didn't know she was starting. Hello, everybody.
It's your girls.
It's Bola, Triple F Queen, B on the mosaic.
And no tagline wit here. Y'all have to forgive me. My voice is kind of going a little bit.
We're both part of the horse voice team today, so do forgive us if we crack.
Yeah, just trying to stay alive here, you guys.
Staying alive. This is not good. I don't even know how falsetto is done, really. So, anyway.
I don't know either. But yeah, just trying to...
See, it sounds terrible. In our usual voice spring, you could do it.
Stay alive.
Well, sounds so bad. Usually we can do good. Usually me and you do really good with that, but oh man.
Today is not a good day for that. Sorry, you guys.
All right. And also, hey, welcome and celebrating. We welcome you in celebrating today's month of the
Asian American
let me restart.
Pacific Islander
Today's
Heritage
month is
May.
And this month is known for
Asian American Pacific Islander Heritage Month.
Also, Native Hawaiian is also in there.
Okay. Well, I was just looking at with the title.
Yeah, it's Asian American Native Hawaiian Pacific Islander Heritage Month.
Okay.
That's the official name.
Ah, okay.
I know because I wrote some stuff for work.
Oh, okay. Okay. Welcome, you guys. And this has been Most Fortuitous. Our episode today is on a movie called Polite Society.
Polite Society?
Which is fortuitous, falling in AAPI month.
Yes, because it is a AA...
P.I.
H-I-P-I month. Okay.
All right, Bo's going to throw all the letters.
I don't want the Hawaiians to be mad. Like, that's what I'm saying.
Okay. Sorry, Hawaiians.
Yes. So the Native Hawaiians, yeah, those ones are also, this is their month as well. Hey, what's up, Moana? I'm checking.
But this was really fortuitous because we were watching another movie in theaters, and one of the trailers was for Polite Society, and we were like, that looks like fire.
I just wanted to see Indian girls fighting in their, you know how adorned they get? They're almost as adorned as us, if not more. I'm not really sure because they Nigerians adorn themselves in one way and then they adorn themselves in another way. I think they probably do wear a lot of gold, but West Africans really put it on thick for their formal wear, right? And so I was like seeing this girl in this beautiful green, all the gold, looking awesome, and then she was kicking ass in the sari or whatever that's called, because I know they have a bunch of different things for the different outfit types. So excuse me if I get it wrong. And I was like, what is this? And then I saw my girl from Umbrella Academy, Ritu, and I was like, if she's in it, it's going to be good because she's a bomb actress. And I saw that it was British, and I was like, I'm probably going to enjoy the humor. Because the British humor, it's either like it goes too far or it's just far enough where it's like, haha, this is really funny. You know?
Yeah.
Anyway, but the movie is called Polite Society, and it was written and directed by, I believe, an Indian or a Pakistani woman of color. I think she's American, based off of the voice I heard. Do you know her name, Whitney?
Her name is Nida Manzoor.
Okay, Nida Manzoor. So we are going to be talking and reviewing this film, and honestly, it's right off the bat because we just watched it and it was fantastic. So we're going to talk about it a little bit laters, but it's time for
Blerd Out. Blerd Out.
What happened with me? The way you just came at it was like, I was like, okay, let's rewind and put some energy behind that, okay?
I thought for our voices we were doing the slow down, mellow
what? You're
version.
right. You're right. Okay.
Blerd Out.
I'm just joking. That's actually worse for your voice, whispering.
Blerd Out.
Use the diaphragm.
Blerd Out.
Okay. Sorry if you didn't enjoy that.
Yeah,
right,
I think the original version rather than the remix is better.
Yay. All right. So today, your blurred girls are blurring out. Well, Bola's blurring out about a period piece show that I watched recently. So your girl likes the Jane Austen fare, the Bridgertons, the Downton Abbeys, the Grantchesters. I am here for all of it. I just like British period pieces. It's ironic because they're like, I always think of the irony that I love British period pieces, and like their system of doing things and how they treated people and everything is really the cause of all the problems in the world today. Well, a lot of social problems, let's say that. But I just enjoy watching them in their rigid formality, and how they're like polite rudeness, yet in fact, polite society, pun, but I like their polite rudeness. I like the little, I couldn't say something because I'm rude. I don't want to be rude. I have to be polite. I have to be, the girl of the girl of the era. And so there was a new one that came out called Sanditon. Now, if you watch it, kudos to you. This was the last season, and it's ending now. It's done finally. But Sanditon,
finally.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's like for people who are waiting. I don't mean finally as in I'm like, whatever. I mean finally, and it's like it's over now. We are happy, we're sad, but it's good, and it ended well. I think
we laughed, we cried.
Yes. We laughed, Sorry, we laughed. We cried, we did a curtsy and a bow. Although I still can't get down with those British period piece dancing things where there's a lot of hopping and circling about.
Yes.
I just don't understand it. I don't understand the dancing fair of that time period. Anyway, but Sanditon is actually a really cool show. Okay, again, it's the Regency era, but it's totally different from all the stuff Jane Austen had done. But a lot of people don't know about this as her complete pieces, because people know about Emma, people know about Northanger Abbey, people know about Persuasion, of course Pride and Prejudice, or what's that one with the two sisters? I forget, but there's one with the two sisters. I'm gonna be mad because I know it, but whatever.
Little Women? No, wait, that's more than two.
Yeah, that's four sisters. Okay. Hilarious. And that's an American author as well. But Sanditon was actually her unfinished work. So Jane Austen was in the middle of writing this story, but then she died. Sanditon is never published or anything because it was unfinished. So some people decided to, the Brits, that's what they do. They produce period pieces. So someone was like, we're going to touch this. We're going to finish this. We're going to actualize this. And so they started. I thought you weren't going to interrupt me and sing. Yeah. Okay. All right. Let me just cut it short. But I enjoyed it. I watched the first season. It had a different protagonist, or love interest, can I say? If you guys know, his name is Theo. I think it's Theo Lane. He's the guy from Divergent. A bunch of other movies.
Who you're talking about. Okay.
I think he's in the Hunger Games. No, he's not. He was in Divergent, that tall, sexy man, British guy. He was also in Downton Abbey for that one episode where Lady Mary screwed this dude and then he died. He was that guy. It was hilarious. Anyway, but it's a really good show. But the problem is they were going to cancel it after the first season. This is on PBS now, Masterpiece Theater. So they were going to cancel it, and I was like, why? It's really good, and everyone was mad. So the fans really fought for it and everything, and so they finally were able to bring it back for the second season a couple years back. But the actor who was playing in the first, who was the main love interest, he was like, I ain't gonna do this. And so the production was kind of like put in disarray because they're like, well, now we have to recast or kill his character off. So that's what they did. They killed his character off, and then they gave her a new love interest. But it's a nice little quaint show. And I really, really liked the last season. This is the third season that came out this year. It's completely finished now. So if you paid extra money to get PBS Masterpiece Theater from Amazon, or you just have, regular cable, then I would recommend watching it. It was really, really good. I enjoyed it thoroughly.
I had no idea that it was a Jane Austen novel.
It's called Sanditon. And I like it because it's at a beach resort. In the near the beach.
Maybe I'm getting this confused with something else. Is this the one that's spelled like Sandition?
Yeah. Sanditon. Yeah, I know the British love their tons, whatever the ton, as they call it. But
I wonder why they were called the ton in Bridgerton.
Me neither. I don't know. It's a very good thing. We should research it.
We should.
I'm also excited because the Bridgerton spin-off, the Charlotte story, has been officially released. I have not started yet.
I have not started yet either, but that was also going to be my Blerd Out.
So
I was just excited about it coming out. Well, not coming out, being out.
Right. And so those are my Blerd Outs. I just want to, that was like a really good show. Like me and my family binge watched it, and I think I found, there was this beautiful scene where they had a party, and it was like the most beautiful fall lantern lights, my favorite things, centerpieces on the table. Like, I literally have to show you this, Whitney. It was just beautiful. I was like, this is what I want if I ever have a wedding. This is what I want. So I was like, props to the prop people. You know what I mean? The decorators. It was just, I might have to post a picture.
I said pun intended.
Right, it was. I might have to post a picture for you guys because, the decor was beautiful. Like that table arrangement. I know it was just like a party scene, but I could not stop looking at that scene. Like me and my sister had like a whole discussion on how you can recreate it. It was magnificent, but that one party scene was just amazing. But I really thought they finished the show well. So kudos to Sanditon, everybody who loved them. Rose Williams, who plays Charlotte, because there's always a Charlotte in these shows. And now I kick it off to you, Whitney. Yeah.
All right.
Right then.
So other than sharing my Blerd Out with Bola G and being excited about Queen Charlotte's Bridgerton Story.
Yeah.
And getting ready to binge watch that soon is my Blerd Out is about something I've talked about before, but about 2 specific episodes. So I'm blurting out about Vikings, which I've been watching with my mom. And we're on the final season. And they have just, this show, every single episode has been like phenomenal. The writer of this show is excellent. Like, it's hard. It's like one of those, there's a lot of
is
shows
it Game
like
of Thrones
with the political kind of maneuvering in a way, but it's just like, it's really hard to stop at a certain episode.
Is it Ragnarok-y?
At a certain point, actually, yeah. But like the 2 episodes I'm blurting out about are Vikings season 6, episode 7, and the name of the episode is The Ice Maiden. And spoiler alert, you guys should be aware that all of our episodes full of spoilers. But Lagertha, who's like a main character, she was Ragnar Lothbrok's first wife and Bjorn Ironside's mother. This is the episode of her funeral, and she's like a really well-known, like probably the most, well, according to them, like during the story, like as the story's being told, the most famous shield maiden in all the world. So she's like a
shield maiden? What's that?
Yeah, so the Vikings has like female warriors, and it was like it was just it was kind of like run of the mill. It was common, yeah, it was common, except for they could have like, regular lives and stuff. Oh, you said like the Dora Milaje. Yeah, I'm sure the Dora Milaje can have regular lives. I was thinking of Woman King. But okay. Yeah, it was like, it wasn't. Woosu! But it was like, it's not uncommon at all. Like, nobody even blinks at the fact that like these shield maidens are like super fierce and excellent fighters.
Now, do they use shields, or is this just like they're supposed to shield the man from getting attacked?
No, that's just the name they gave them.
Shield maidens. Interesting.
Yeah, they use shields and swords and axes like the men, but the name that they give them is shield maidens. Mm-hmm. And so Lagatha is just like a G. She's amazing. I love her. I've loved her like throughout the whole series. So the previous episode, she was killed. I mean, she was already dying, but then somebody killed her. Not quite on purpose. The person was under the influence and like hallucinating.
Oh.
Yeah, but she was dying anyway. But anyway, the funeral scene and just the way the episode ended was awesome, brilliant, excellent.
I love it when a show's good. Don't you love it, guys? Like, you love it, right?
It is. And like, so I really suggest people watch Vikings. I mean, don't just go straight to season 6, episode 7, because you have to, it works. I think it works as well as it does because you know the other characters, you know her story, you know the journey she went on and everything she had been through. And to see like the funeral they put on with her, they pulled out all the stops. They were like, we have to make this a funeral worthy of the greatest shield maiden in their history.
Wow.
And it was just, oh my God, the filming, the way it was just done. And they had like a scene underwater. It made it look like Valkyries had come to like take her soul to Valhalla.
Mm.
And like a reunite, like her first husband, Ragnar, even though I don't know if they use the word divorce, but they didn't like stay together. Mm. Like they were each other's kind of like true love. So then you see like almost like her being reunited with him.
Sorry, I had to pull a Whitney.
made up of like sea sand at the bottom of the river. Mm-hmm. And it was so beautiful and brilliant and just like amazing. So that's my favorite episode ever of Vikings. And then like not too many episodes later, season 6, episode 11, the episode is called King of Kings. Her son Bjorn Ironside, who is also the son of Lagertha and Ragnar Lothbrok.
So like, you're blurting out about certain episodes?
I mean, I've blurted out about Vikings before, and it's blurred out worthy, but these 2 episodes in particular.
Okay.
So season 6, episode 7, The Ice Maiden, and season 6, episode 11, King of Kings, which is the Vikings fighting against the Rus Vikings, which are apparently, I guess, the Russians. Mm. So it's just really awesome. It's like one of those, I would say Game of Thrones-esque. Okay. It's like comparable to when Jon Snow was like losing the battle, and then you see all the people from the
Battle of the Bastards.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Was that the one where Jon Snow was losing, and then like what's his name?
Cavalry came in.
Yeah, the cavalry came in, even though what's his name was the one who was responsible for making sure they came. Littlefinger. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. But that episode was just like so brilliant because it's like
that was a really kick-ass episode.
It was because it's like you see them like fighting with everything they have, and it's like they're losing, but then it's like no, if you keep fighting, then you might prevail even if it seems that all is lost. And it's just like one of those things, and it was just brilliant. It's not above the Ice Maiden episode, but King of Kings is probably my second favorite episode of all of Vikings. So
all right, y'all, you got another blurt out?
That's it. That's what I'm blurting out
about.
So
it looks like y'all need to be watching or catching some period pieces that are going on. You can go Viking, or you can go Regency era England. Mm-hmm. And now we go to modern England with our regular scheduled programming. All right, so we're going in. Do you have any topics, any other things?
Nope.
So we're going in on polite society right now, y'all. Mm-hmm. By the way, can I just say it's a beautiful day.
Don't let it get away. Day.
Don't let it go to waste. I don't think that's the right song.
It's a beautiful day.
Hey, hey, hey. Okay. It is a beautiful day in May. And I'm glad we're getting this one out a little bit earlier in the month than we usually do. All right. So polite society. All right. So the premise of this movie is you have 2 sisters. born to Pakistani parents living in England, modern day. And they're both just not the traditional children that, most Pakistani parents would expect, They're kind of similar to a lot of Asian parents, let's just say that. When Nigerians are like this too, Africans are like this too, but a lot of Asian parents have very high expectations for their children. They want them to be the best of the best. They want them to do the best. They want them to be
doctors
all the time. Exactly. You must be a doctor. You must be a lawyer. You must be something of what they consider repute or status. Reputable stuff. And the daughters were not. The oldest daughter, whose name was Lena, who was played by Ritu Arya. And if you don't know who Ritu Arya is, she was in Umbrella Academy. That's her most famous thing that I know people can clue into. Like, oh yeah, I know Umbrella Academy. Mm-hmm. And then a newcomer, because to me, I've never seen her before, was her sister Ria, mm-hmm. Ria, who is played by Priya Kansara. I hope I said that right. Sorry, Priya. But yeah, so they're both sisters, and she wants to be a stunt person. And I just have to say, this film, like, beautifully, I have to give it up to only a woman could write this, actually. I'm so glad, because not only does this film pay homage to, like, old 60s style fight movies, mm-hmm. but also it pays homage to their culture, like, true to their culture, mm-hmm. like a Bollywood style film, but with extra, and it has a little modern twist to it, because most Bollywood films, their whole premise is like, oh, a guy loves a girl, there's a marriage, there's a wedding, shoddy, which means wedding, dancing, troubles, and then there's a wedding again. You know what I mean? And that's like the basic plot point for like most Bollywood films. They're changing a little bit now, but there's always a dance number. And lo and behold, there was one in here too. But I like that she was able to take these traditional tropes of Bollywood and Asian and at least Indian culture and
/Pakistani.
What? Pakistani, yes, because everybody knows they're different religions, but they're actually like the same peoples. So they have similar cultures. They're just one is fully Muslim, and the other one is Hindu mixed with a bunch of other stuff. So they actually have similar culture. They watch the same movies, everything. They speak the same language, even though they call it this differently because they write it differently. So Hindi to me sounds like Urdu, but Urdu is just written differently. Yeah, so I like that they took those traditional tropes, cultural things of, children need to be the best. And when your children are disappointing, I remember Ritu's character said in the film, when she was asked by the guy she's trying to what is it called, Whitney? Trying to court her, what
Lena.
do you do? And she says, I disappoint my parents.
And that was actually Lena rather than Ria.
I'm sorry. That's what I meant to say. Lena said that because she's the older sister and mm-hmm. she was the one getting married. And when the guy was courting her, she's a failed art student. She went to art school. They allowed her for one because mm-hmm. most Indian parents, Asian parents, they ain't paying for art school unless you're like genius, Mm. And she just didn't do well at that. But then her sister was really, really trying to be a stunt woman, and she's mm-hmm. like serious about it. And her parents didn't really take Ria seriously either. Mm-hmm. But her sister was like, "No, I believe in you. I will help you film these. Keep trying at it." And I love that part.
I do want to interject on.
Go ahead.
I will help you film these, because at the beginning of the movie, like it's a part that's like a humorous part, because every time she's like, "Will you help me film something for my channel?" And she's like, no. And then her younger sister Ria's like dragging her out of bed.
Right. She just dragged her out of bed, and then she does it though. Mm-hmm. I'm not gonna lie to you. I liked how they opened up, because you see the girls in their elements, in their failure, if we have to use a word. Mm. But I like how real they were. They were just like, we're just two brown girls from England, living our life and doing what we do. We're not the typical pretty put together. I mean, they both look fine, but they're not the pretty put together, pristine girls that parents like the Indian girls to be. They're not the ones out there being the
and
best on top of the...
say they don't just look fine. They're very pretty, but they're not like...
Yeah. I mean, like, just
they don't
the
doll
ones...
themselves up.
No, I don't even mean that. It's like they have a style of what the pretty Indian girl's supposed to be, you know, but they're supposed to dress a certain way. They have their hair a certain way, makeup all the time. And that was not Lena or Rhea in the beginning of this movie. And I like that they showed that. Rhea was in her art. I mean, Lena was in her art, and Rhea was like, I'm going to be a kick-ass stunt person. And she was like doing it when it came to the martial arts. She was like, I'm in it. I'm flipping. I'm doing stuff. And I love that because they were like, we're just chicks. You know what I mean?
I love the scene near the beginning of the movie when they're all having dinner at the table and their father is like, Lena, you're looking good today. And she's like, yeah, I showered.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Like...
She was like, let's keep it real. If you work from home, some of you know you're not showering every day.
I think she was actually in like a depressive episode.
Well, of course, yeah, she was. But I'm interjecting that. You know how you are. And she was fine with it. She was like, and one of the weird things is the first time you see her, besides the painting part, where she was actually painting and like not liking her work, she was like wandering around the city, hungry, I guess, and she just decides to go into this Asian, I would say like Chinese place, and because they're Asians as well. And she just comes out with a whole like Peking duck, like, and she's just munching on it without a care.
Right? A whole one, not like a leg or wing or thigh.
The whole duck was in her hand, and she was munching on the thigh, and she didn't give a damn. She had no F's to give, but then of course she saw the aunties. Oh Lord, the aunties in every culture are something else. The aunties were like, and then she had the duck for cover. Pardon the pun again. But she literally had to be like, oh, they got to see me. You know what I mean? And so that's how random she was. And then you would see them in the house fighting and just like being their like quirky selves. I love that.
I love it too. And speaking of like, Bola brought this up, but like it's got very much, it would remind you of Scott Pilgrim versus the World.
Yes. As soon as so I said this in the theater to Whitney, one, because I loved it because we had the theater to ourselves because of the time we went like 3 p.m. on a Friday. People are at work.
And plus, you know, we're recording on May 5th. Happy Cinco de Mayo, everybody.
Oh, yeah.
But everybody, you know, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 is taken over.
Yeah, so nobody was watching this film, especially at 3:50 in the afternoon on a Friday. We just happened to be off. And so we're like, yeah, we have the whole theater to ourselves so we can make as much noise as we want. Talking about, because me and her just, one of the things I love is when you sit down with a friend and you're just like, every second of the movie you're like, I'm enjoying this. You have all these side comments to make. I love a film that really gets at you and has heart, but also the humor was on peak. But also I was mentioning to Whitney that this film is highly stylized, and I love a good stylized film. Think of like a Wes Anderson kind of thing, you know, but better. Wes Anderson can be dry at times. But like, everybody knows Wes Anderson films because they're very stylized. But I like a stylized film that is very conspicuous in your face in that what it's doing, you know? They had all the tropes. They had the words on the screen, the signage, where the Scott Pilgrim vibes came in because it was like, it was Rhea versus a lot of people throughout the film. And then they were like, it was like a book too, because it was like in chapters, right, Whitney? Mm-hmm. And so it was like the first chapter was like at school, and then the next chapter was like this party. And I like how they used those things to move the story plot along, you know, and it was definitely because the girl wanted to be a stunt woman, she was fighting. The main young girl who is Rhea, she was fighting. They had battles, like literal battles in this show. It was amazing. Which
reminds me of another thing that it kind of reminded me of. It reminded me of Kill Bill a bit too.
Yeah. All those vibes. Kill Bill vibes were in there. Scott Pilgrim versus the World vibes were in there.
Maybe a little bit of Kung Fu Hustle.
I feel like there's another film that does something like this too. There's another film that does, but I had to commend the writer and director. I'm so glad I found out that she was a woman, because I'm like, of course, only a woman could talk about her culture, make fun of it, add some fighting scenes and also talk about abuse of women at the same time. Mm-hmm. Like, she mixed so many things in there, and it was like a nice little concoction, because she was like, no, we're not getting away from the culture. I'm not shying away from it. She's like, let's mix the two together in this kind of fun, unique way. And I've never seen a movie like this featuring, let's say, South Asian people in this way. I just like this. It was very good.
It was really cool.
Yeah.
And it's, I mean, I figured, I was pretty sure it was a woman as I was watching anyway. I mean, like the scenes when they're trying to like sneak out.
You're right.
Lena. And like the way they keep getting around people is like, when like they're not supposed to be there. So-and-so requested some tea. She's on her monthly. She's got a heavy flow.
Yes, and like, as soon as a guy came up to her, as soon as a guy heard that, he just was like, whatever.
No, just go. It
was like, man, it just shows. Also, this one had the weird elements in it, because the villain of the story, and I just love that she did this. The villains of the story were the people that her sister was supposed to marry. So it was young Rhea was like, you can't marry these people. I got really bad villain vibes. Like, not gonna lie to you, the mother of the groom, she had, if you saw
Ms.
Marvel with Kamala Khan, she basically is the same woman. It is the same woman, the same actor, and I love her acting in her portrayal. Oh, I love her acting in her portrayal, because she just has that villain look on her face, and she does it so well. Like, anytime I'm seeing her, I'm like, bad business. You know, I was like, no, she is the baddie that's already... If I see her as a regular person, I'll be shocked. That's crazy. I'm like, nah, she gonna turn around and do something. But I love that actress, but she was the bad person. And they had a very cool twist to it. Because at first, most of the Bollywood films, or South Asian films that you see, when it comes to the marriage thing, there's always a marriage thing, but it's always like melodrama. And like just stupid things like parental, what's the word I'm looking for? Parental pressures, or disapproval. That's the word I'm looking for. Parental disapproval is the main reason why, like, oh, that person's not the right cast. Oh, that person doesn't have the right job. Oh, that person is weird. You know, whatever it is, it's always some kind of melodramatic reason as to why they're like, I don't want you to be with this person that you've fallen in love with, you know? But here, it was like, both parents wanted their older daughter to get married, because they were like, you need to just maybe get married now. Like, and maybe, you know, try something different. And at the same time, Lena also wanted to try something different and not be an artist anymore. But then the parents... Go ahead.
I wanted to comment on that because, like, Rhea is looking real psycho for a large portion of this movie.
Let's get into that. Let me finish this point. Let's get into that part. Because the main reason... But the thing is, Rhea has good instincts. And she was like, I get bad vibes from these people. Like, I don't like their little relationship. And I will say, yes, the relationship between the mother and the son, definite red flags. Definite mommy boy.
So creepy.
That you want to stay away from. But the reason is, like, valid for what they were actually doing to people. Oh, yeah. You best break off that marriage. You know what I mean? It's not just some melodrama that can be solved easily by talking. This one was like, these people are freaking crazy. They're doing experiments on women for some really creepy ass, sick ass thing. She should not be with him. And I'm like, yes.
Which I want to just like, that reminds me of another funny point during the movie. Like when she like brings her friends in, when Rhea brings her friends into it, I'm like, we gotta stop this wedding. I want you guys, or not wedding, like them dating. This was like before the wedding. Before the proposal or whatever. And she's like, I need your help. And you're like, okay, what's the plan? And she's like, step 1, diplomacy. And they're giving her these look like, but they're like, diplomacy. And they gas her up. And I'm like, yeah. And of course, diplomacy fails. And then her friend, which one was it? Clara is like, yeah, diplomacy always fails. Human beings are trash.
I know, right? And she's like, human beings are basic, aren't they?
Yes, basic, like, yeah.
First of all, I love the setting is in England, of course. I don't know where, please don't come for us. But because we're not in England, we're in America. But I love British humor in this kind of sense. Like from the get-go, this thing was chock full of humor. Her friends and her are just ridiculous and funny at the same time. Not gonna lie to you. I remember I was telling you, I was like, okay, I'm getting Scott Pilgrim vibes. And then when she was fighting the bully, and she was like, 10 house points. And I was like, I'm getting Harry Potter vibes.
Right? That was hilarious.
I was like, and then I'm getting like boarding school vibes. Like, it was just so many things were happening and converging at once in this film. And I was really into it. I love the fight scene because I'm like, wait a minute. Where's the teachers while these chicks are fighting in the library?
It's like this fight lasted for a while. Where were you?
And then the teacher conveniently came in at the end of the fight.
Which also, and I told that I leaned over and was talking to Bola, I was like, this also always happened in Boys Over Flowers. Like when all this heinous stuff was happening.
Korean drama, yes.
Like
Boys
where
Over
were the teachers this whole time? Like what in the world?
Well, you know, in Asia they have a really bad bullying issue where teachers don't even get involved in bullying. That's why so many kids commit suicide. The more you know.
Oh my God.
I'm sorry. That's kind of morbid. My bad. But it's like, that's the thing. I always look at that too. That I'm like, why don't because you see, and I watch Korean dramas as well. I watch all the cultural things, honestly, because I like to learn about the world. And certain languages appeal to my ears. Anyway. But that's something you see in a lot of Asian films and things. I mean, bullying happens everywhere, don't get me wrong. But like in the Asian schools, China, Japanese, you just see it so prevalent, and then it's like the students are left to really handle this mess by themselves, as opposed to like, hey, here I feel in America, even though some kids do commit suicide from these kind of things, they at least have the channels to get help, get their parents involved, something will happen, you know? But there it's like bullying is just bullying, and it happens so often, so frequently, they do such terrible things to each other, and you're like, the teachers don't get involved. The parents don't get involved. Like, the only thing is, like, maybe the parents will move them to another school if it gets that bad. But most of the time, the kids end up killing themselves, and it's too late. And I'm like, what are you adults doing while these kids are, like, hurting each other? Like, stop it. Anyway, but that was
not to laugh at that, but that also reminded me of Kotaro Lives Alone, where he was like, all these terrible things are happening. Why don't adults do anything? He's like, am I one of the adults who don't do anything?
Anyway, but back to the show. So our girl Rhea, she's like, nah, these people got mad villain vibes. She's just convinced. Well, the main reason why she doesn't want her older sister to marry this guy is because what I like at this was at the heart of this film was it's a sister movie. Sisters, girl power movie. And she's like, I love my sister. I don't want her to go. She's my best friend. Only she will record me flipping and hurting myself and looking a doofus like 15 million times, you know? And she was concerned about her because also she was like, my sister is going to be an artist. She was so determined, like, she's going to be an artist. I don't care. She was like, I believe in my older sister's dreams. So much so that I believe more for her than she does. And she was just going so hard for it. And I really liked her tenacity in fighting for her sister's well-being.
I do.
And her dreams.
I did appreciate fighting for her sisters, like tenacity and dreams. I also, at some points, found it problematic, though. Because it's like, if her sister, like, genuinely is like, I don't think this is for me. Like what she said a couple times. And then even at the end of the movie, when everything's done, she was like, yeah, now you can go and you can pay. And her sister kind of gets this look like, I'll marinate on it for a while. It's like, Rhea, I think you're still pushing this thing that maybe she doesn't actually want to do. I mean, maybe she'll come back around to it, but it's not seeming like this is something she wants to do right now. And I feel like you're pushing it.
You're right. There is a nice balance that needs to be made between recognizing when someone is falling on their dreams because they don't believe in themselves, and recognizing when they are giving up on a dream because they think it's time to move forward on something else and they don't want to do it anymore. That's something cool. But again, Rhea is a teenager as well. And so what I didn't like was that they constantly and they do this a lot to women. I'm sorry. This film was full of like secretly subliminal message of things that happen to women all the time. Being silenced, being paraded around, set on a platter for like a smorgasbord of pick one for just one dude, that happens. So just selling out your daughter is one. Then when the girl is fighting and saying things and scaring people with her behavior, you know, I understand the family's concerned, but they were like not listening to her. So a lot of times it's like, oh, we're not listening to women. Calling her, you know, some troubled youth, or like she made me suggesting she's not all there, or she has like vivid imagination or overactive imagination, which I hate.
In their defense, she was looking pretty cuckoo.
I mean, she was doing some suspect things, but she was. The problem is she was trying to find evidence. I was down with her for the evidence in the beginning of all the stuff. I was like, okay, let's produce some evidence. Where she lost me is where she decided to be like, okay, we're going to fake some evidence. That's when she lost me. Because Bola don't do no fake, okay?
Right. And that's also where she lost the friends. The friends were like, yeah.
Yeah, no. She started kirking out on her friends, saying something to them, telling them to piss off or bug her off or whatever it is, the equivalent. And I was like, don't do that because the friends have been here for you. Don't do that. What about your friends? Okay.
Do they?
Okay, well, let's not. Abort.
Yeah. Don't have the voice for it.
So I didn't like when she started unraveling, and it was out of desperation this time. It's because no one was listening to her. No one's taking her seriously. And she was like, I know this is not right. Just let me. But I was like, don't fake stuff, though. So I don't know what she was planning on doing, filling up all those condoms with lotion and planting them in his room. Like, I was just mad at the thought of it.
I was like, I don't understand how this is going to work.
Okay, guys, like, come on. Let's talk about this little one thing she was doing. When her friends and things didn't work out, and she was like, we're going to fake stuff.
Smear campaign was her final step.
Yes. After she done tried, like, talking to the family. I like that. She went, like, from really rational to, like, super crazy. Mm-hmm. That's the nice progression of things. You know what I mean? Sorry to say, but that's the progression of things. So at least start off rational before you get into crazyville. You know what I mean? So I like that she started off talking to everybody. When she couldn't do that, she's like, let's dig up dirt on him. So she and her friends literally, like, pretended to be dudes, went into the gym in the boys' locker room, stole the groom-to-be's computer, tried to get all his download all his information. It was the funniest thing in the world, trying to see them be like dudes. It was hilarious. I'm like, y'all see these chicks pretending to be dudes, right? Anyway, but it was so funny. So then that didn't work. That's when she was like, we need to get some smear campaign on, because now things were moving too fast. They were already engaged, her, this guy and her, and she was like, no, it's too quick. And she didn't like what her sister was turning into, because her sister was changing. She's like, you don't wear cardigans. You're not a cardigan wearing faker. And I was like, well, what if the sister changed her style? Like, what's wrong with a cardigan? But she's like, that's not her. And so it was like, for Rhea, I felt like she was in desperate need to hold on. What I saw by the end of the film was that her real tenacity for holding on to Lena's dream to be an artist and making her an artist was because of her wanting her dream so bad. But she didn't think that she thought if her sister couldn't do hers, then she definitely wasn't going to get hers. You know?
And that's what, for part of the film, I was like, had a little bit of a problem with, because I'm like, your motivations here.
Kind of codependency or interdependency, is that the right word?
I feel like I don't feel like Lena was like really dependent on Rhea. I mean,
so it was more codependent on Rhea's side,
right?
Because Lena was like, I'm doing me. I'm about to go to Singapore with my boo. This is happening for me. I'm giving up art. I'm moving on with my life, even though he was playing her hard. Very hard. Like, I mean, not gonna lie, the guy was fine. He was such a
mama's boy, and not a good way at all.
Yes.
He was a little punk, and then the way they were on the couch when she broke into the house to play
He should have been a Bollywood star. How much acting his ass did. I mean, to me, I was like, you probably should have married your mom. Remember I said, this Oedipus Rex nonsense here happening, I didn't like it.
Yeah, that was red like, flags. When they were watching the TV show, I was like, this is weird. Weird in a not good way.
Let's be real. Let's get into it. It got really weird. So by the time you have her breaking into their house, and they live in, like, the family that Lena was marrying to, the Shahs, they were really rich. And so her breaking into this big house, doing all this crazy stuff, she got caught easily. I was like mad at her because I was like, how you didn't even try to hide under the bed?
Right?
You just let yourself get caught.
You hear the footsteps coming. It's like you didn't have any time.
She had enough time to, like, I'm going to go back out the window.
Exactly.
I'm going to go under the bed. I'm going to go in the closet. She had enough time. But whatever. She just got herself caught. And then they didn't believe her again. And then everyone was like, you're crazy. Get out of my life. All that kind of stuff. So it was like,
and she did have a crazy eye looking thing going on for a while there.
She did have a little bit where you're like, slow your rolls, Rhea, slow your rolls.
You like, looking real psychotic right now.
So she was on her own trying to do stuff. And then she apologized because her sister was like, I'm not going to talk to you anymore. Get out of my face. And I was like, damn, this is like deep. This is real. Let's talk about the parents real quick because the parents just irritated me. Not only was the groom's parents, I think it's Ramila, she was a scary ass bitch, but she was the main villain of the whole show. Because, again, let's get into the crazy. The main reason why Rhea did not want these people to marry, like her sister to marry with these people is because Boy's mom was basically looking for all these women all the time to find the perfect womb for her to implant her little clone baby in so that she can live out her actualized life that she didn't get to live because she was born in a different time. That is the epitome of selfish, misogynistic, honestly, hating stuff. Because it's very misogynistic for her to do this to women as a woman. Be so jealous of the time of women, young women that are nowadays that have choice and everything. And I mean, I feel for her because it was like, it was real. Just decades ago, really, a lot of women didn't have a lot of choice. And then still some women in certain communities, Asian communities, they still don't have choice. They still don't have control. They still don't have the freedom to be who they can really be. You know, and I understood that part too because that was part of the whole thing where I was like, this author really, this writer-director really got these issues of women, you know? So you're right, Whitney. It was very clear that a woman wrote this because the intricate things that she was putting in here, whether women were being trafficked, women were being sold, like having the men or families sell their daughters off, like, hey, she's on display at this event, you know? But it's really like, here, come catch my daughter. Come catch my daughter. She needs to be married. That's kind of what it was. And then
I wonder about that because I think about shows like Indian Matchmaker, and now they have a new one, Jewish Matchmaker, and I'm like, I don't see a problem with that. If you want some help finding someone, because at first, to me, before it got, you found out what they were doing, I was like, this seems more like almost like a matchmaker type of thing. I'm trying to find an ideal
mate
spouse for my son. So
and
I was like,
that's not a problem.
Yeah, huh?
And that's not a problem.
Exactly.
If the two people are consenting.
Exactly. But but that's before you find out. So that's why Rhea was looking really crazy because up until then everything looked like, non-problematic.
And then it got real problematic real quick because it turned out they did some experimenting on my girl because they scanned her womb. Well, they scanned all the girls' wombs, and hers was the best and strongest in order to accomplish this evil task. But, you just look at what she was doing to the women there. She was only getting them there. She was being super fake and really, she didn't mind harming these people. She didn't mind lying. She didn't mind faking. She was the main baddie to fight. It was Khan versus Shah, where a girl, Rhea, was fighting her at certain points, and that was a great part. Seeing that woman fight her, that was awesome. I loved the fight scenes. However, it was these are things that happen to women. They are lured into relationships, lured into marriages, and you don't know who these people are. And then they literally sell your daughter down the road, sell them to brothels, sell them to slave laborers, do things to them, harm them. And you're like, it's out of my hands because you're now theirs. That happens in Indian and Pakistani society, Indonesia, all those places. It happens to women. And so I like that she touched on that in a way where she's like, these are all the different things women are dealing with. And I like the fact that she had the part in there where Rhea was talking to her idol, her stunt woman idol, about how she was tired of men, that, and she's like, I think they harm the world so much. I agree. I don't hate men, but I agree their level of harm is way higher, and she was like, it's time for somebody else to be in control. I like that part of wanting the women to have agency and power, equal to men and do things differently, I like that she had that vision in there too. She was doing a lot in this film And I appreciate it. She did it with style and humor. And it was literally, I felt at the end of this that I was like, I need to get other people to watch this. Not only to just laugh at the ridiculousness, but to see what she was really doing in this
stylization, the music with that kind of 60s, like you said, kind of vibe. It was awesome.
It. They even had old Hindi songs from the 60s because, you know, all the stuff during that time had the same style of music. So even if it was in a different language, 60s music in Hindi sounds like similar to like 60s music here. Exactly. And I watched old Indian movies before, so I'm like, yeah, I was like down with this. And then they had that dance number from Devdas, the Maar Dala. I will post it in the show notes, so you guys will see the video clip of Madhuri Dixit doing an awesome ass scene where she was dancing on the floor because she was a courtesan that danced. Well, she was a prostitute, but during that time they danced, and it was beautiful. And I love that whole thing was like a scene for her to take over, because usually it's like, oh, let's watch the pretty girl dance. That's the main purpose of the scene. The item number, they call it in Bollywood industry, item number and item girl. But I love that she took that. I love that she took that scene and was like using it for Rhea to be like, I'm going to get all you beep beep beeps. She was the whole time she was dancing. She was like,
it was very assertive.
Signals. Yes. She was giving signals. She's like, I'm gonna kick your ass. You're dead. Signals. See my face, bitch. Beautiful over here, but I'm serious right here. I'm gonna kick your ass. Like, I love that. That's just the. It was subtle, and I loved that. I love stuff like that. It was
this movie had a lot of swag.
It does. Like, this is some just dripping swagoo. Put it on some spaghetti, damn it. What other things were we talking about? The fight, the beautiful costumes. Like I said, or we said that earlier, right? The costume at the end with the wedding. I loved seeing them both fight.
I always love just seeing like traditional Indian garb with like saris or whatever
like
version.
Traditional wear from most cultures. Like I love.
That's actually true. Yeah,
traditional wear where it's just because everyone
true.
wears Western style clothes. Modern, let's just say modern, because it's not even West. Everybody wears t-shirt, jeans, pants, skirts, dresses in the modern style. But it's like the older style or the traditional style that's not worn all the time. They're always so beautiful and unique.
Like pretty much bar none. Every time I think of it, like when you see whatever culture with like traditional garb, it is always like really awesome.
Right. I love the fight scenes in her school with the bully, and like we talked about that already. I'm just trying to think of any other things to bring up that were fantastic. Oh, again, I love that they were so real. So like once the sister Lena had figured out, and she believed. Once everybody believed her, but not gonna lie, she came up in there with a gun, so she did look a little more crazy again.
Yep.
And I was like, for us Americans, it's triggering because I'm just like, woo, gun violence, not for me. But in England, they don't have it like that. So I just thought it was hilarious. But I was like, you coming off crazy. You coming off crazy, not hot, crazy. But she was like, no, I have evidence now. I've seen the lab. Y'all gotta understand. You know, she was like, I see what they're doing. And I got you, and we can't, like, she was just determined. I like that she got her friends back, and she like, let's do this plan. Even though her plan was to kidnap her sister, not the best plan, but, you know, they try to do what they try to do, you know?
I also love how, like, every single person in this movie knew how to fight.
Right?
Like, everybody was like a black belt. Like, why are you guys, like, level 15 Kung Fu masters?
Exactly. Oh, yeah. The scene where, so there was a scene where Rhea goes to apologize to Ramila, who's the groom's mom and the real villain of the movie. And she's, like, trapped in the house with her. She brought the little laddus, which are the sweets, traditional Indian sweets and Pakistani sweets, to offer as a peace offering. And then she was like, okay, let me just try and be down with this. Because everybody was against me and hating me, and I was doing too much. But then she saw the crazy of Ramila. And first of all, the villain that wants to watch you get waxed is ridiculous. I was like, oh no, bitch is going wild. Bitch is running wild, you know? But I'm
like, and then those freaking waxers.
That's exactly what I was talking about. So at first you see them in the scene, and they just look like regular women, chill, demure. They're just gonna, you know, estheticians that do the waxing. Estheticians do waxings and deal with the face and hair, removal of hair and nails and stuff. And you're like, oh. But then as soon as she runs away, realizing what Ramila was, and Ramila just came out with villain claws. She was like, I'm going to just show you my fangs so you know I'm dangerous. Because, like, get in my way, bitch, and I'm going to attack you. So she came out with it, and Rhea, as a smart girl, she's like, I got to get out of here. So she ran down the stairs, and then all of a sudden, those girls follow her, and I'm like, why are they following her? And then you just see them, as soon as they get there, they're like, in vital stances. Then you see the biceps, and I was like, oh, these are stunt women. So it's like, everybody could fight in this film. I was just like, yo.
Everybody.
What about the house damage that the girls did?
Like,
both
really?
the sisters had a fight scene, so it was Con versus Con, and the sisters were fighting, and I was like, this is like a real, like, I'm destroying the house fight.
Right?
Like, the door cannot be repaired.
Rhea through the door.
Smashed her head into the glass, like...
Right? And then the mother and father are, like, downstairs listening. They're like, come down.
Just clean it up.
Yeah, clean it up and come down. And then, like, Lena goes, and I'm like, so you're not gonna wash that blood off your forehead before you go down?
Right. I was like, anyway, had they been black, African, this would never be happening. Like, there will be none of this fighting in the house like that. But anyway, I just thought it was hugely funny to see that.
It was.
Because, again, it was just part of the style.
And it was part of what made it funny, the fact that, like, every single person could fight.
Yeah. Yeah. Even her mom even though her mom was like, you know, you could tell, like, in the friend group, mom was not the best she was not the most confident of the auntie group. She was just like, oh, you know, pretending that her daughters were doing well. And I was just like, come on, mom. That's why I was mad at the parents, because I was like, y'all, but the parents always do that in these movies, in these films. I'm like, do better, parents. Y'all supposed to, like, vet these folks. Don't just, like, hand your daughter over because you're like, well, at least we can get rid of her. You know, she's married. That's the only status for them. And a lot of Indian, I have friends who, like, you know, the parents would still be happier with them if they were married right now instead of being single. And they're in their 30s. Like, to them, it doesn't matter if they've got all these degrees, accomplishments, board certifications, but you're not married. It's still a problem to them. Like, you're not doing great because you don't have a family.
I feel like it's not always about that.
No, I'm just saying that this is something that has been expressed.
No, I got that. But I wonder sometimes if that's not like it could be like a factor, but if that's not always like the main thing. Because I think of like my mom, something she said to me years ago. I think she's resigned herself to the fact that I'm probably going to be an eternal bachelorette. Mm-hmm. But she's like, you know, me and your dad are going to be gone one day, and I just want to make sure that you're not on your own.
Yeah, yeah. And I have heard that too. One of my friends had said that that she was happy, or I think their dad told them that they were happy that the times have changed, that the daughter was educated and has a good job and everything is doing well for herself, because if it was in their time or back in their home, she would have to rely on a man. She wouldn't have the opportunities. She would not have the degrees, the knowledge, or even the chance to get past beyond her parents. She would be doing her mom's life over again. And he actually expressed gratefulness at that, and I thought that was great for her to hear.
Yeah.
So you're right. It is, sometimes it just has to do with who's going to take care of you. But then you can just be like Rhea and be like, I'm going to take care of myself, bitch.
But it's not just about, like, when my mom expressed it, I don't think it was more so about, like, taking care. I think
I know. It's just,
like,
they don't want you to be lonely.
Exactly.
Yeah. They don't want you to be lonely. That's why you have to have good friends. But you have,
and that's what I told her in response to that. I'm like, Mom, I've got really great, like, friend groups. Like, I'm happy.
But you also, at a certain point in your life, you may decide to take a companion later on if that person comes.
Yeah.
You might. I'm just saying, it's an option.
It's like, what's the word I'm looking for? Remote possibility, but I haven't ruled it out.
I'm just saying, for people who are like that, they may later in life, at 40 something or 50, be like, oh, I finally found someone I think I can live with. You know, or I finally feel like I need a companion. You know, as opposed to wanting one. There's a whole thing about want and need that also needs to be in there as well. But my thing is, I don't like it when it's just about your status, or it's like, oh, you're not doing well. And this happens in African households too, y'all. Like, let's be real. As Africans do it a lot. Marriage is everything. The wedding is this, you know, and you're like, it's not always about that. You could be fine even if you're single and you're just doing there's nothing wrong with you. You just haven't met someone yet, or you are fine by yourself. And I hope for more that this is normalized. that women can be fine by themselves, you know, without the whole I need to be married thing. And you can trust that they can take care of themselves with nice friends. I have an aunt, a family friend, not a real aunt, but like I call her aunt. And she was married at one point, but she had divorced long ago. And she had stayed single the entire time. And I mean, she tried to date and all that kind of stuff, but she is like just by herself. Like, it's just her. And there's a lot of freedom in that. There are times where she wants a companion, so then she'll date. But then other times she loves and enjoys her freedom, but she surrounds herself with her family and friends. So she doesn't feel lonely.
Exactly.
She has a big family. They do things. She's even now like, going off, doing wonderful things, having a trip with her brothers and sisters. And I was like, that's amazing. But it's only for those who don't have that. That's when you can be worried. Like if you were like a recluse kind of person, then if I were your mom, I would be worried because I'm just like, you're just not going to leave the house.
I'm kind of a recluse sometimes.
No, you're not. No. If you go out, I mean, I'm talking about people who don't go out at all.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. The recluse, like they're shut-ins. That's what I mean.
Okay, gotcha.
Like they particularly have a job so they don't leave their home like beyond the steps. That kind of person you need to be worried about.
That's concerning, yeah.
So I understand, Mom. I understand that. I understand both sides, but I would prefer if the majority of them didn't think, oh, you need to be married by now because of age, because of status, because of culture, because of, you know, you get more respect when you're a married woman. Men don't just treat you anyhow. You're protected because of this marital status thing. That's what I would like the stigma to go away. Because, I mean, yeah, you can be each other's protection. You can be help, but it's like it's supposed to be a partnership from the beginning. Not that only a security for you as a woman.
And I feel like that's just more needed, just societal wise, anyway, for it to be a partnership. Like, even if you want to be a stay-at-home mom or stay-at-home dad, you got to put something towards that partnership. Like, you're taking care of the home, you're taking care of the kids.
You're doing some budgeting.
Exactly.
You know, finances
you're doing
in the
something
house.
like even if someone's got, like, you know, is bringing in the money, that doesn't mean that the other person isn't, like, working as hard. They're just doing it in some other area.
Yeah.
But it needs to be a partnership. And I think it also is important for young men as well. I feel like there's been a lot of pressure on men for centuries, millennia,
to be the provider, and then they do too much trying to provide.
Right. And then that's got to be, I mean, I can imagine that's probably can be difficult as well.
There's this lovely Bollywood film actually called, I think, P and Pa or Ki and Ka, and it's about that reversal. It was so different because in India it's so hard to challenge the traditional values because they're so ingrained. They're so part of the zeitgeist of their society. Marriage, marrying, and like gender roles. Everything's so defined. It's very hard to be outside of that and be functioning in society. So the movie has Kareena Kapoor in it and Arjun Kapoor, and they switch places where Kareena is like the career woman, and she fell in love with this young man. He's younger, but he's a young man. He doesn't want to work. Not because he's lazy, it's because he wants to be the homemaker. He was raised by a woman who was, his mother was like the epitome of homemaking. Like she was a homemaking, like a savant, I guess, for lack of a better term. And he just learned everything from her. And he wanted to do the same thing. He enjoyed cooking. He enjoyed keeping home. He enjoyed all the stuff that house husbands or housewives do. That was his thing. He was like, if you're my wife working, I will take care of this house. I will make the food. I will do this. And he cooked amazingly well. But it was such a problem in their society and for people that they were like, how does this work? You know, and then other things ensued in the film. But I actually really enjoyed it because I was like, this is something that they need to see. That a house husband is not just some weak man that doesn't want to work. He's doing other things. He's in the home. He was making a cookbook. He wanted to, once the woman had the child, he wanted to raise the child in the house. He wanted to do all that, take care of the child and do it. And I was like, there's no problem in that. When there's agreement between the two, what's the problem if it's the man instead of the woman? I'm with you, and I'm like, they need to make more movies like this so
and what
that
was
people
it
can get it. It was called Key and Ka.
Put it in the show notes.
I'm gonna find it. I'm gonna find it for you guys. But I enjoyed the film very much because I thought it was like, it was one of those movies that spoke to the culture. So, and India does that a lot, where they're like, let's try and change our thinking about this. And when those movies are there, I'm like, yeah, tell them, you know. But yeah, so this film, let's get into ratings now.
Yeah,
I'm glad that the discussion that was brought about from this film, y'all can discuss some more. Let us know some things. I personally encourage you all to really watch it because I enjoyed it very much.
It's pretty awesome. And see it soon, because like with big tent movies like Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 coming out, there was a lot more showings prior to like today. We saw it. Today's May 5th. Thursday, Tuesday, Monday, there were a number of showings, but as soon as I got to Friday, like the showings fell off a cliff.
They removed it quick, and I was like, "This is not even at AMC. This is not even at Cinebistro. This is not even at Cinema Cafe." I was like, "Where are we gonna watch this film?" Thank God for Regal just has a lot of theater, so Regal always has stuff. But also, thank goodness for Bowtie here in our local area, because we were able to watch it at least this afternoon, and it was really awesome. I enjoyed the watch. I like when I get my money's worth. Okay.
Same.
So let's get into ratings. Whitney, you go first.
Okay. I'm gonna give it 8 glasses and a monocle.
Oh hey. I'm going to give it just because of the audacity of the writer director. I give her mad props. All the actresses, even her friends, the British girls, the two black girls and the white girl, they all contributed well. Everybody in here was doing good. I'm gonna give it a 9 for what she was really trying to do. I totally got it, you know, on how she had managed to do it. That's the magic of cinema to me. I give it 9 glasses because if you look at the film, you're like, oh yeah, it's just a regular romp. You know, it's awesome. You might say, oh, this is an 8 or 7 or something, but you have to look deeper and see what she was trying to say. And maybe because me and you analyze films all the time, and I definitely do, but I give her a 9 for the way she was able to accomplish it. There was a lot going on in the film, and she brought it all together, and it could have been a huge mess. It could have been weird, especially with the introduction of the weird cloning thing and all. It could have just come off as like, what is this? It could have basically been like a Sorry to Bother You, which was going well until that one point, and then the film went left and it lost me, and I was like, this film is horrible. And it could have done that, but it didn't. It maintained its momentum, and it set on it had its heart and its humor and its action-packedness. So I give it 9 glasses.
All right. So yeah, so that's an overall average score of 8 glasses, a monocle, and a contact lens. 8.75.
All right, so this is a bona fide watch, y'all. Watch it. We said blurt out about it.
That's right.
All right, so me and your girl, no tagline with Triple F Queen, we are going to go drink some tea, y'all. Yes. These voices need to rest. But we hope you enjoyed our episode for May. Again, we want to wish everybody that is Asian American, Native Hawaiian, and Island Pacificers happy month, Heritage Month. We all do need to, you know, join together.
Come together.
Exactly. In celebrating everybody's heritage and culture, but also their struggles and the people that they are too. Yeah. I really say that pointedly at Asians because, anyway, let's not get into it. I'm just going to end. But happy month to all of them. Okay?
Happy Heritage Month, y'all.
Bye. We see you on the next episode.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to our podcast. Please subscribe to our show on whatever podcast listening app you use and share the show with other Blerd and non-Blerd family and friends. And if you like this episode, please subscribe to our email newsletter at blerdtalkbw.ck.page and also rate and review our show on Apple Podcasts.
Intro and outro music is Twilight by Caption. You can find them on SoundCloud, username Caption spelled CAPSHUN. Show notes by Bola, Hanson, audio engineering by Whitney Booker.
And don't forget to get social, you guys. You can email us at blerdtalkbw@gmail.com. And our social media handles on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok is at BlerdTalkBW. And our YouTube channel is youtube.com/@BlerdTalkBW. And we've got our individual things going on too. You can find the Triple F Queen on Instagram at Triple F Queen B as in boy. And my YouTube channel is youtube.com/@Triple F Queen B.
And you can find me, Whitney, at Luminabi Studios, my company, and the email address is wit@luminabi.com, spelled WHIT, at LUMENAVI.com. And you can also find me on Twitter at Luminabi Studios.